2026 changes everything in Formula One. The sport's governing body doesn't just tweak the rules anymore, it resets them. It forces teams to abandon what they mastered and start again, as if the last 3 decades of engineering triumphs never happened. The cars are smaller, lighter, and more electric than ever. The old advantages, big budgets, engine dominance, aerodynamic loopholes are supposed to vanish overnight. But while the world's best teams obsess over power units and battery output, one man is hunting a different kind of prize. A man who doesn't look at the rules the way others do. Adrian Newey. He didn't try to beat the rules, he searched for the spaces between them. And today, his discovery could force the FIA to ask a question no one expected. Did engineering brilliance just crack their reset? How exactly did one designer see what no one else did? The 2026 regulations were sold as a reset, a fresh start, a clean slate. But the truth is, they were more than that. They were a challenge, because every rule was designed to strip away the familiar paths to speed. The cars were smaller, lighter, more electric. The chassis were tightened, the floor was flattened. The aerodynamic tricks that once defined the sport were banned or heavily restricted. The FIA wanted stability, control, and fairness. But in Formula One, fairness is never simple. The sport thrives on the ability to innovate, to interpret, to exploit. When the rules change, the real race begins in the engineering department, not on the track. And in 2026, the engineering race became a war of interpretation. The 2026 reset is built on 5 pillars, each one a deliberate attack on the old way of designing a Formula One car. First, the cars must be smaller and lighter. The minimum mass drops to 768 kilograms, 30 kilograms lighter than the previous era. The wheelbase shrinks, the chassis narrows. Everything is designed to make the car more agile, more responsive, and more difficult to master. Second, electric power takes center stage. The internal combustion engine must share the spotlight with the electric motors, delivering roughly equal output. The MGUK power limit jumps to 350 kilowatts, almost triple what it was before. Battery deployment rises to 4 megajoules per lap. Total race energy is capped at 700 megajoules. Fuel must be 100% non-fossil. The engine compression ratio is capped at 16:1. Third, active aerodynamics replace the old DRS. Only the front and rear wings may move. The front wing end plate can shift by 35 millimeters, the rear wing can change angle by 15 degrees. These systems activate above 300 kilometers per hour or when a car follows closely, all to aid overtaking while controlling drag. Fourth, the floor is almost entirely flat. Venturi tunnels are banned. The floor edges must stay flat within 10 millimeters under load. Ground clearance cannot dip below 30 millimeters. Any underbody shaping is limited to precise radii, and deflection is tightly controlled by static load tests. Fifth, the regulations target porpoising. The floor must maintain clearance under dynamic load. Suspension travel is capped at 75 millimeters per wheel. No active suspension is permitted. Any geometry that causes oscillation above 2 Hz is explicitly banned. The message is clear: eliminate unstable aerodynamic states. Force designers to find stability through rigid structures and careful kinematics. Teams are now trapped in a new landscape where the old tricks no longer work. With Venturi tunnels banned and floor geometry tightly restricted, the familiar paths to downforce vanish. The FIA's intent is unmistakable. Abandon unstable ground effect solutions, build stability into the chassis, and design a car that is predictable and safe. But the rules do not outlaw downforce. They only change how it can be found. Every team is searching for new ways to recover lost grip. Some focus on battery deployment strategies, squeezing extra efficiency from hybrid systems. Others look at packaging, shrinking radiators, tightening bodywork, cleaning airflow. Yet the real battleground is shifting to the edges of the regulations, where clever minds see opportunities others miss. The flat floor, once a blank canvas for underbody sculpting, is now a hard boundary. Designers must work within a 10 millimeter window for floor edge deflection. maintain ground clearance above 30 millimeters, and keep suspension travel within 75 millimeters. Any sign of oscillation above 2 Hz triggers scrutiny. The message is clear: no more riding the razor's edge between legal and illegal movement. Still, the search for new downforce never stops. Teams are quietly experimenting with suspension geometries that promise to keep the floor as close to the track as possible without crossing the line into active systems. Passive mechanical tricks like anti-dive, anti-squat, and clever kinematic linkages are back in focus. In this environment, the difference will come from those who can see not just what the rules say, but what they do not. That is where true innovation begins. If you're enjoying this deep dive, hit like and subscribe to Daily Apex Up and let us know in the comments what you think the next loophole will be. Adrian Newey's move to Aston Martin is not just a new job, it's a power shift. The most decorated technical mind in Formula One now controls the entire 2026 car, from the first sketch to the final wind tunnel run. For the first time in years, he designs with no legacy parts, no inherited compromises, and no constraints from the past. Across 4 decades, Newey's cars have won 14 world championships. He transformed Williams in the 1990s with active suspension, led McLaren through relentless technical wars, and helped Red Bull dominate with innovations that forced rivals to catch up. Now he faces the biggest rule change in a generation. And the paddock is already nervous. Rumors say Aston Martin has found a new kind of floor control, legal but almost impossible to detect. Instead of chasing engine power, Newey's team is exploiting suspension geometry to keep the flat floor as close to the track as the rules allow. The goal is simple: use the car's own movement to squeeze downforce from a floor that is supposed to produce none. No electronics, no active systems, just clever kinematics. The FIA checks cars while stationary, but racing happens in motion. Suspension compresses at speed, and the gap between floor and asphalt can shrink far more than static tests reveal. That blind spot has been exploited before, most famously in 1992 with Williams' active suspension. Now, whispers of a breakthrough spread when leaked simulator data showed Aston Martin producing downforce numbers that seemed impossible under the flat floor rules. Rival teams analyzed the files, and the only word that captured the mood was a Dutch phrase, angsten jagunde, frightening. In 2026, every millimeter matters. The FIA may have tried to close every loophole, but innovation always finds a crack. And the next revolution might already be hiding in the rulebook. The greatest trick in Formula One has never been building speed. It has been building it where others cannot see. The 2026 reset was meant to level the playing field, to erase old advantages, to force teams to reinvent themselves, but it also created a new kind of race, not of engines, not of wings, not of batteries. A race of interpretation, of engineering imagination, of a single mind seeing the invisible gap between the rule book and reality. Adrian Newey's discovery does not just threaten the FIA's reset, it challenges the idea that rules can ever fully control innovation. Because in a sport built on pushing boundaries, the boundaries will always be pushed, and the next breakthrough may already be hidden in plain sight. What do you think?